Every combo comes with a 42-ounce soda where most of it is the soda and not very much ice, and you're kind of like, what was the goddamn point of that? This is kind of gross. The A-hole. We don't care about you. You don't care about us.
Live from somewhere you're not, it's KPBC News with your lead anchor, Anchor Cat. Greetings, I'm Anchor Cat, and these are the stories we think you need to see. In our top story, the Florida National Guard has been called out to the Disney World entrance into the Magic Kingdom with orders from Governor Ron DeSantis to immediately resegregate the attraction known as It's a Small World After All. The situation on the ground in Orlando is reportedly tense, but we have reporter Burgess DeVito on the scene, and he's got an update for us. Burgess?
Anchor Cat, just moments ago I got done speaking with Jeremy Mierda-Lips, a spokesperson for the DeSantis administration. He told me why the National Guard has been called out to Disney World this morning.
Burgess, let's get real here, shall we? The governor has a duty to protect Floridians from threats to their white feelings. And for years, we all turned a blind eye to the woke, globalist, and anti-white themes of It's a Small World After All, and Governor DeSantis decided today was the day that all that ended. So he did what any other rational adult would do, and he threw a hissy fit and abused the power of his office and ordered the ride to be resegregated.
I asked Mr. Mierda-Lips if he was aware that most of the animatronic children in the ride are in fact separated by their country of origin. He said that was a, quote, nice start, but it doesn't go far enough.
One of our staff members rode the ride not more than 10 minutes ago and reported that it still ends with a big room full of all these kids of every country singing in joyous harmony. So that's just disgusting. Absolutely, positively disgusting.
Mierda-Lips told me that DeSantis is so committed to seeing this decision through that he's ordered a stack of 50 phone books to be delivered to Disney World so he could stand on them and directly confront Mickey Mouse. From here in Orlando, this is Burgess DeVito sending it back to you, Anchor Cat.
Next, we're headed out to Tennessee, where right-wing commentator Matt Walsh just held a press conference and dropped a bombshell announcement on everyone. Reporter Skip Tumalou was there for us. Skip?
That's right, AC. Just a few minutes ago, Matt Walsh announced he was leaving the Daily Wire to take a position somewhere he said is much more suited to him. According to Mr. Walsh, he was offered a job working for NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, which could come as quite a shock to some. However, during the press conference, Walsh explained that he and NAMBLA's president were taking a private tour of Jeffrey Epstein's island last weekend, and they realized that Matt Walsh thinks about young men's genitals more than any member of NAMBLA does, and that made them think there's a chance for synergy between them. So Walsh gave Ben Shapiro his 2 weeks notice, and then he'll begin his career with NAMBLA, which a lot of folks I spoke to around town told me is something they thought would always happen anyway. From Tennessee, this is Skip Tumalou. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Skip. As promised, let's get you those winning Powerball numbers. And here we go. 56, 27, 23, 41, 16, and 89. Good luck to everyone out there except my Uncle Pat, who still owes me $40 over a bet we made 6 years ago. Pat, if you win, you better believe I'm coming for my $40, you welching son of a bitch. Let's take a break and we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
I come to Johnny Hot Cocks for one simple reason. I'm a chicken lover. And I know that Johnny Warmween, the man who opened the very first Johnny Hot Cocks way back in 2022, is a chicken lover as well. And that's why every single Hot Cocks platter or slider that you order isn't just fried up the moment you order it. That's when they slaughter the chickens too. You literally cannot get a fresher chicken sandwich than if you had raised, slaughtered, and fried that cock yourself. So what are you waiting for? Come on into Johnny Hot Cocks today. I'll be here waiting for you. Hi, I'm attorney Barry M. Larker. Did an AI algorithm recently replace you at your job and or in your marital bed? Did your AI-controlled sex robot that your wife bought you also sell your identity to Russian hackers? Then you might be entitled to a financial settlement.
When the AI algorithm in my wife's sex robot locked the door on me, I wasn't happy. But when it sold my identity to the Russian hackers and they drained all my money buying OnlyFans subscriptions for my wife, I knew who to call. I called Barry M. Larker, and he got the judge to tell me I wasted the court's time and that I had to pay my wife's sex bot's attorney fees. So it was kind of a net loss for me financially, but the emotional closure my wife and her sex bot got was probably worth it. On some level.
The judge in that case was biased against me, and I told that judge's sex robot as much, but that doesn't mean that I didn't fight like hell and earn my retainer fee. So call me at 1-888-LARK-LAW, because I never get tired of working for you so that one day you wake up, check your bank balance, and go, there's like a little bit more money in there now. Thanks to me.
On the next SciWatch, researchers at Grohl University have released a double-blind study proving which cheeses are the absolute best, the best, the best, the best of blue. And we'll talk about what this means for humankind. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back. This week, right-wing podcaster and singer-songwriter Jethro Bo Higgins called for the deportation of not just so-called anchor babies, children born to immigrant families while in the United States, but for another group of babies he says pose just as much an existential threat as the infants he'd otherwise want to force a white woman or teenage girl to carry to full term. Here now is a clip of Jethro's podcast, which Governor Ron DeSantis has said he may use in future campaign ads.
Fam, it's like this. If we're going to deport anchor babies, rightfully so, because they ain't from around here, they don't look like us, and they consort with people outside of their race and frankly species, then we got to do the same thing with those damn Muppet babies, don't we? Am I wrong?
We'll sit down with Mr. Bo Higgins this weekend to discuss his rant and whether or not former White House bald Nazi twat waffle Stephen Miller has reached out to him with a position within Miller's White America First legal foundation. Next, Jesus Hubert Christ announced today that he and his father, Larry God Shumway, would be hosting Heaven's very first drag brunch this coming Sunday. While announcing the drag brunch, which he said will feature some of Heaven's best and brightest angels performing as their drag personas, Jesus preemptively addressed any criticism he might face from angry evangelical Americans about the drag brunch. Christ told Afterlife reporters that if, quote, people like Matt Walsh get their feelings hurt over the drag brunch, they can, quote, cope, seethe, and die mad about it. Though Christ warned that if Walsh does in fact die mad about the drag brunch, he probably won't be too thrilled with where his soul wakes up, though he'd be surrounded by people Walsh admires, like Rush Limbaugh, Ronald Reagan, and a certain German dictator with a stupid little mustache. We put a call in to Mr. Walsh, but we're told that he was too busy thinking about my son's genitals to comment on this story at this time. It's time for the weekend's weather report with our own Austin Sleet. Austin, how are things shaping up right now?
Well, Anchor Cat, in terms of the weather, as you can see, it's actually shaping up to be quite a beautiful weekend. However, in terms of my personal life, it's shaping up to be a shit show that sucks giant donkey balls, because this is the weekend I get to drive all of my ex's belongings out to her in Arizona, where she lives with her new boyfriend Todd, who happens to not only be her new boyfriend, but my own brother. So, yeah, I'm kind of hating life right now, and, maybe I won't be back in time for the Monday night broadcast, especially if I decide to just yank the wheel hard right and let the chips fall where they may, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Austin. Let's get you all a surf report from our surf reporter, Johnny Buttdust. Johnny, what are the waves looking like right now?
They look like big undulating curtains of ocean water to me, Anchor Cat. Back to you, bro.
Thanks, Johnny. Insightful as ever. Let's pause right here and we'll be right back with more news.
Comedy and open heart surgery are two of the most complicated, dangerous things that any human being can attempt. And I should know, because I'm one day could be world-renowned comedian Jeff Wigglebottom. And for the last 15 years, I've been helping comedians fine-tune their act and find their voice. But I don't work with just any old open micers. I take dads who night in and night out sit around their dinner tables telling jokes that just aren't quite landing with their family, and I make them the comedian they know they can be. So if you sit around your dinner table every night and you lay out a classic banger like, "Nice to meet you, hungry, I'm Dad," and they're not responding by rolling in the aisles laughing their asses off, send me an email at jeff@dadjokecoach.com. I'll have you woodshedding your tight five in no time, and your family will recognize you as the comedic genius everyone knows you are.
Folks, if you're in the market for a used car that smells like someone died in it, the body wasn't found for several months, and it was never properly cleaned or fumigated because someone totally died in it, the body wasn't found for several months, and it was never properly fumigated, then you better run. Don't walk into your local Cowboy Cow dealership and see me and my dog Dot, because nobody has a larger inventory of cars that smell like someone died in them. The bodies weren't found for months, and they were never properly fumigated. Bad credit, poor credit, who cares? We're trying to get rid of cars that smell like people died in them. The bodies weren't found for months, and they were never properly fumigated. Hey, let's go!
Check out now, check out
Hi, kids, it's me, your old pal Fred, and I have a question for you. How often do you think about someone else's private parts? Don't be afraid. Answer honestly. How many times each day do you find yourself obsessing about what one of our other friends has in their pants to the point that you even want to write laws that force them to show you their private parts? That's what I thought. You're all healthy, well-adjusted humans who don't have enough time in your busy days to obsess about other people's genitals. Because healthy people just want other people to be healthy and happy too. And when we go to the poo-poo and pee-pee room, we're just there to go poo-poo and pee-pee. And we don't go in there on a mission to inspect everyone's crotches. Well, I've got to run now, kids. See you next time. Welcome back. Hillary Clinton reportedly reached out to Donald Trump's legal team and offered to not only email him the definition of espionage and instructions on how to spell it, but to also represent him in court. If Trump isn't comfortable with Hillary defending him, Clinton said her husband Bill is available. However, former President Barack Obama also has apparently expressed interest in representing Trump as well, though he also indicated his wife Michelle would, quote, rather gargle battery acid, unquote, than be within 6 feet of former President Donald Trump, so she won't be lending her expertise as an attorney to the cause. So far, Trump has not responded to either Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. Next, the North American Medical Union announced the results of a study of last year's data that they say shows a 6 trillion% spike in deaths from cannabis overdoses over the previous year. The NAMU's Dr. Benson Hornadew held a press conference today to discuss the study in more detail. We have triple-checked our math and the double-blind peer-reviewed results. So to me, the conclusions are quite easily confirmed, especially because 0 times any other number is still 0. Now, do any of you want to do a dab with me? We'll be interviewing Dr. Hornadew for the Week in Scientific Shit this weekend on KPBC News. It's time now for sports with Fred Fritz. Fred, great to see you as always. What happened in sports today?
Well, Anchor Cat, the local professional sports stadium underwent quite an eventful night last night. You see, roughly before halftime, all the lights went out. The power to the entire stadium was shut off, and the team was forced to play the game in the dark. Now, when the lights finally did come back on, nobody was sure what the hell the final score was, and our entire team is now on the injured reserves because they kept bumping into each other. Now, crazily enough, I spoke to a team representative, and what he told me was that a visiting player in the other locker room tripped over an extension cord, which was plugged into an outlet right outside a 7-Eleven across the street from the stadium, which was providing power to the entire facility. So, oops.
Wow, that is a pretty wild time down at the old ball yard, eh, Fred?
You bet, AC. And as a reminder to our viewers at home, tune in every Saturday night at 11 p.m. for our weekly sports bloopers and snuff film roundup.
Wait, what? You show what every Saturday night at 11 p.m., Fred?
Bloopers. Sports bloopers. I said sports bloopers.
But you said sports bloopers and...
What? You're breaking up, Anchor Cat. I'm losing your signal, I'm afraid.
You're standing 10 feet away from me in a corner of the studio, Fred.
Oh, Anchor Cat, I'm so sorry. I think I'm about to drop the call, so I better just let you go, and I'll catch back up with you during the next sports segment, okay? Bye!
In our next story, we're going out to Ball Pinch, Alabama, where State Representative Tom Tompelson has proposed nullifying the 19th Amendment. Reporter JKLMNOP just spoke to Tompelson, and he's ready to tell us what he heard. Jay?
Hi, Anchor Cat. It's true. I just got done speaking with State Representative Tom Paulson, and he is indeed speaking with his fellow Alabama Republicans about what it would take to move 2 key pieces of legislation through the state legislature and onto the governor's desk.
Look, Jay, there are pretty much only 2 things that you know for sure because of the Bible. One is that in every marriage, the man in the marriage is always right. It's in the Bible, okay? And because of that, women know, the wife knows, she has to submit to the man's authority, okay? It's just that simple, right? And plus, we know from the Bible that ever since women's got the right to vote in this country, for good, clean, white, ammo-hoarding, Christ-fearing, cross-burning Southern men like me, things have gotten much more worser. Think about it. Before women could vote, there was no Medicare. There was no socialisms in this country. I mean, come on, there was not even Obamacare or Roe versus Wade. So I think it's high time that because we know since per the Bible, There are no such things as man-fault divorces. We end no-fault divorces. And that way, we go back to living the way the Bible wanted us to, and women stop wokeifying America.
Tom Paulson swore to me that his own wife filing for divorce last week had absolutely nothing to do with his push to end no-fault divorces in the state.
That is just silly, Jay. That is just silly. That is enough. You will stop talking immediately. Because it is just rude and offensive of you to insinuate that because my wife doesn't think that she should be forced under the threat of drunken, sometimes violent abuse to sleep with me every night, that somehow has any bearing on this. I have known my whole entire life how dangerous it is to let 51% of the population, the ones we actually need to procreate, make procreational decisions, Jay. It just puts us right up there in the upper echelons of demonic activity to think that way, Jay.
Tom Paulson feels he has the support of every member on his party and will try next week to get his bills on the Alabama House floor. From here in the Bullpinch, Alabama, this is J.K. Elamanopi. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jay. Let's pause and take a break here, and we'll be right back.
Are you a gold-digging, racist, fascist-enabling, opportunistic gutter stain who isn't quite sure she wants to stay married to her sexual predator husband now that he's going to go to jail for violating the Espionage Act for a few years? Then call me. I'm attorney Barry M. Larker, and I never get tired of fighting for you. I've handled a divorce case or two in my day, and I'm pretty sure that I can get your prenup thrown out of court, even though you signed it with a clear conscience. So call me at 1-888-LARK-LAW, and I'll fight for you and get you everything you deserve, you craven, cynical cartoon villainess.
All I'm saying is that to me, it's just not that huge of a deal.
Dude, guy, he had boxes of national secrets in his damn bathroom.
And?
Well, aren't you one of the lock her up guys?
Hell yes.
Okay, so your guy had actual printed classified secrets. Stuff like information on weapon systems and capabilities. The kinds of things people get killed for trying to steal. And he was just showing it off to people. He's on tape, showing it off to a donor, and commenting about how cool it is that he has classified information.
So what? Was any of it on a private email server?
No, it was in his shitter.
Okay, so not on an email server, and is he a Democrat?
Would you have voted him into office if he had been?
Oh, so not a Democrat, and the stuff wasn't on his email server.
Yeah.
Still need to know why I don't care about this espionage stuff?
No, I just need to delete your number from my contacts.
What was that?
Nothing, Dad. I'll see you next week.
Welcome back. Let's bring on our own presidential historian, Steve Kearns-Goodwin, to talk about the rather incredible development of a former president being charged under the Espionage Act. Steve, what are your thoughts on Donald Trump's criminal indictment on 38 charges stemming from his stealing of national defense secrets?
Well, Anchor Cat, it certainly is historic because it's never happened before. But it's also historic because it's the first time anyone has been charged under the Espionage Act without being able to spell espionage. Or act, for that matter.
That is truly fascinating, Steve. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk to Steve more about this historical moment in time this weekend on History Hour, 4 a.m. Saturday and Sunday morning. Up next, as special counsel Jack Smith inched closer and closer to indicting Donald Trump recently, more and more Republican politicians entered the 2024 race. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie stops terrorizing Japanese citizens and fighting Mothra long enough to enter the fray, and former Vice President Mike Pence decided that trying to kill him was the perfect reason to try and lead the Republican Party. But according to several sources on the Hill, the Republican Party's leadership is worried that if Trump goes to prison, it will leave a power vacuum and nobody is sure who has the right mix of McDonald's farts, racism, and daughter lust to attract their base in the numbers they need. Don't miss our 6 o'clock broadcast when I interview Chad Beefington, a GOP operative, about who his party wants to recruit should Trump wind up in jail.
Anchor Cat, there are so many dumpsters out there that I'm sure one of them has a fire in it that's bad enough for us to use. You know what I mean? Besides, on the real, we have the deepest bench of miscreants, sociopaths, and religious extremist domestic terrorists to choose from, so, we're gonna be fine. Way fine.
Up next, as we reported recently, Disney World plans to open what they're calling the Hall of Never Will Be President in their lifetimes. And today, they announced to the public who the first 4 animatronic representations of politicians that will give speeches to guests once they get inside the attraction will be. We send you out now to Orlando, where reporter Shep Shatlapshitz was on the scene for the announcement. Shep.
Thanks, Anchor Cat. Today, Mickey Mouse and Goofy announced that the Hall of Never Will Be President will open in 2024, just ahead of next year's election. As for the Americans who will be there in animatronic form, well, Mickey said that we can expect to see Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis, Hillary Clinton, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
So it's a bipartisan affair, Shep.
That's right, Anchor Cat. And what's more, according to Goofy, Disney's chief financial and hilarious buffoonish hijinks officer, the company is saving a boatload of cash on animatronics.
Why's that, Shep?
Well, they only had to build animatronics for 3 of the 4 politicians in the attraction. Apparently, Ron DeSantis actually is an animatronic boy who escaped from It's a Small World After All and ran for Congress.
Oh, so that explains why
He's so short and has no observable brain. Yes, that's right, Anchor Cat. From here in Orlando, this is Shep Shatlapshitz.
Thanks, Shep. That's going to be our final story for the broadcast. I'm Anchor Cat, and I'm so glad you could join us. As I say each and every time we say goodbye, please don't make an effort to speak to me if you see me in public, because I do consider myself to be at least a smidgen more important than you. Take care, everyone.
Well, I was all set to vote for the president again because the other party is still just a cult of personality for either a reality TV game show host and lifelong criminal or a 5-foot-tall religious extremist in white go-go boots. But then, at Elon's Balls Taste Great 69420 on Twitter, well, they shared a picture of Hunter Biden's dick. And, well, I love fascism now. I also love smoking crack, but I'm sure that's not important, really. It's a space. It's a hairy man from space. Look at him go.